Mr. Lennon Tan, the President of our Singapore Manufacturing Federation, Mr. Dennis Mark, CEO of our SMF, our distinguished panel speakers, I'll be on a panel later on. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, it is definitely a privilege for me to be here with all of you at the Manufacturing Day Summit. I'm particularly delighted to see so many familiar faces, including our esteemed partners from the Singapore Manufacturing Federation, and especially my comrades in female manufacturing. Can we all give our ladies a big round of applause? Woo! This event is more than just an annual gathering. The theme of this year's summit, Smart Collaboration, Humanizing the Future of Manufacturing in the Age of AI, closely aligns with the shared belief that all workers can thrive in a rapidly evolving industry. It is a valuable opportunity for us to strengthen relationships, exchange insights, and look ahead towards the future of manufacturing. Since we're here today to discuss the future of manufacturing in Singapore, I want to focus on an essential element of that future, and that is creating inclusive workspaces to attract and retain our women in the manufacturing workforce. For decades, the manufacturing sector has been a cornerstone of Singapore's economic development, with women playing a very vital role in our industrialization journey. From the 1960s to the 80s, women came out to work in factories and were at the forefront of the manufacturing revolution, working in factories near their homes in housing estates. And I would say that women are actually the founders and the backbone of our manufacturing industry, correct? Yes. And so, recognizing the needs of working women, NTUC took a pioneering step in establishing our NTUC childcare services all the way back in 1977. And this was to help our working women manage their family responsibilities by providing childcare centers in our housing estates. In fact, this is an interesting factoid. The NTUC was the first to actually have large-scale childcare centers. And it's also interesting to note that in that era, from documentation from our archives, we found that employers liked female workers in the manufacturing industry because, believe it or not, they said that females were docile. And I think that times have definitely changed, and we need to look at a different type of reason why women need to continue to be in the manufacturing industry. And therefore, as our economy transforms from labor-intensive manufacturing to knowledge-based industries, we face new challenges in maintaining our women's participation in the manufacturing sector. Their representation in this sector actually declined in the 80s and 90s, ironically, to less than 25%. Today, even as our national labor force participation rate for women has risen to 68.2%, the representation of women in manufacturing remains disproportionately low. Despite manufacturing having evolved from labor-intensive jobs to knowledge-based roles in automation, R&D, and smart manufacturing, the persistent perception remains that manufacturing jobs are less conducive for women, especially those with caregiving responsibilities, and this continues to pose challenges in attracting and retaining our female talent base. And I would argue against this. This perception, I believe, could not be further from today's reality. Modern manufacturing offers exciting opportunities for women to build rewarding careers in high-value and high-paying roles. Our manufacturing floors have transformed to high-tech environments where robots work alongside humans, data drives decision-making, and innovations happen on a daily basis. These changes have created strong demand for a diverse talent base, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and maths STEM roles. Women in STEM skills are increasingly valuable, and I believe by supporting women's participation in these higher-paying technical positions, and through something that we pushed through last year, flexible work arrangements, we can work towards closing the gender pay gap while strengthening Singapore's manufacturing capabilities. Now, to realize this potential, we must rethink how we structure work. Flexible work arrangements, or FWAs, are a critical enabler in attracting and retaining our women in the manufacturing careers. While FWAs are often misunderstood as simply working from home, they actually encompass three main types. The first is flexi-time, and this means that you adjust work hours to suit our employees' needs, such as starting or ending work earlier or later. The second one is flexi-load, which we modify workload distribution, such as part-time roles or job-sharing arrangements. And the third one is flexi-place, and this is actually a continuum of where work from home is. And flexi-place means that you allow your employees to work from locations other than the office or job site when feasible. Home is one, but of course having facilities that's near our housing estates would be another flexi-place arrangements. And I believe that this option offers tailored solutions to meet the diverse needs of our women workers and caregivers, enabling them to balance professional and personal responsibilities effectively. Now, I know that many of our manufacturing employers here are scratching their heads a little bit, because something that I hear as a co-chair of the tripartite guidelines, or the tripartite work group for flexible work arrangement requests, is that FWAs are not compatible with manufacturing. I actually think that this is contrary to this popular belief. I think that manufacturing sector was actually a pioneer in implementing flexible work practices, because you have something called shift work. And shift work is a form of flexi-time and has long been a staple of manufacturing operations. And I believe by adopting other forms of FWAs, such as flexi-load and tailored shifts, our manufacturing sector can further enhance its workforce management while attracting a more diverse talent pool, which includes women as well as caregivers. And to address these challenges, we must rethink how we structure work. FWAs are a critical enabler in this effort. FWAs allow employees to balance their professional aspirations with caregiving responsibilities, making it possible for more women to stay or return to the workforce. You might not know this number, but there are actually 260,000 women of economic age who are not in the workforce here in Singapore. 260,000, and they are aged between 25 to 60 years old. And I believe that if we open this tap through flexible work arrangements and caring about their caregiving burdens and needs, this would be very relevant to ease the manpower crunch that we have in the manufacturing industry. And I believe that de-rigidizing schedules and online requirements can definitely encourage more women to be able to pursue opportunities in the manufacturing industry. I believe that for women who disproportionately shoulder caregiving responsibilities, FWA, or flexible work arrangements, represent a lifeline to stay engaged in their careers. A recent NTUC survey found that a staggering 85% of workers with caregiving responsibilities identified FWAs as the most important form of support, 85%. And in another survey on flexible arrangements in workplaces by the NTUC Women and Family Unit and our PAP Women's Wing, we saw that 87% saw FWAs as an important factor in their decision-making to stay or leave their current jobs. And I believe that these data points underscore that flexible work is not just a convenience, it's a necessity to empowering caregivers and women to retain their invaluable contributions to the workplace. And at NTUC, we have been championing FWAs since the 1990s. Our advocacy culminated in the development of the tripartite guidelines of flexible work arrangement requests, and this took effect on 1st December 2024. And these guidelines ensure that employees can request FWAs and receive fair considerations from their employers. And our efforts at the NTUC doesn't stop at policy advocacy. Through initiatives like the See You Back at Work program or the CUP program, we've worked with employers to redesign jobs and implement FWAs that caters to women's needs and caregivers' needs. So let's take the example of a company called Chaitian Maintenance. They are a company in environmental services sector, and they have successfully introduced over 500 roles with flexible options, incorporating flexi-time, flexi-load, flexi-place, proving that even traditionally rigid industries, such as the environmental services cleaning industry, can adapt to flexible work models. I recall that in the first 6 months of Chaitiam introducing the CUB program, the Flexible Work Arrangement program, they actually attracted a pipeline of 800 women. And I think that this shows that there is a latent demand for women to want to come back to the workplace and to join the workforce, especially the manufacturing industry. Another impactful initiative that we launched is the She Supports Friendship Circles, and this is a mentorship and community building effort by our Women and Family Unit over at the NTUC. Friendship circles provide returning women with a platform to share experiences, gain insights from mentors, and navigate the challenges of re-entering the workforce. These sessions not only empower women with guidance and support, but also offer valuable feedback for NTUC to understand the systemic barriers women face and tailor solutions that address these issues effectively. And I hope we can work with the SMF to leverage our friendship circles to help more women get into STEM roles. And beyond FWAs, to create a level playing field for women and caregivers, the NTUC is also committed to build inclusive workplaces, which extends to the workplace fairness legislation, or what we call the WFL, and this was introduced just actually a couple of days ago at our most recent sitting in Parliament. I spoke about this quite a bit, and I believe that this is actually a very important hallmark for Singapore when it comes to having workplaces that are fair and inclusive. And this legislation represents a very significant step forward in protecting women against discrimination, covering characteristics such as pregnancy, caregiving responsibilities, and of course, gender. The Workplace Fairness Act is set for implementation in 2026, and so there's actually quite a lot of time for us to do engagements with SMF and your members. And in the meantime, while we wait for this to take effect, we will promise to continue gathering feedback from both employers and workers to effectively address grievances and to eliminate discrimination and unfair practices for both employers as well as workers. Our work is definitely not done, even with all these legislation. Our SMEs, which form the backbone of Singapore's economy, face challenges in implementing progressive HR practices due to the lack of abundant resources and staffing. I met many tauges, and all of them inherently believe that fairness is a good thing. However, many are concerned about how these legislations will affect them. One recent example was an aggrieved female worker in one of our USME network companies. She reported on an unfair clause in her employment contract, and essentially the clause stated that the company reserves the rights to terminate a female employee should she conceive in the first 6 months of employment. And she must tell the company during her initial job interview if she is pregnant. This is a discriminating practice. And we spoke to the business owner about the clause, and he shared that he was sincerely aghast about the matter. He did not know that this clause was in the employment contract, and I'm very happy that he and his team are now part of our labor movement network, and they are working with NTUC on refining his employee handbook and employment contract services. This is where the NTUC can come in to guide, to support, and help you adapt, providing guidance and support to implement all our legislative changes smoothly. Our NTUC USME has stepped in to support many businesses by providing HR resources, signing MOUs, and we now have a network of close to 2,000 SMEs with us. And we offer training and as well as equipping our HR professionals with tools to manage workplace fairness effectively. In fact, later today, I'm very proud to be finally signing our partnership MOU with SMF to seal our partnership and to bring support to the SMF company ecosystem. Companies will gain access to a series of programs such as the USME Created Program, NTUC in the Workplace, where we guide SMEs in creating what we call the 3 Bs: better workplaces, better work, and better workers. We will provide free pantry setups complete with 3 months worth of snacks and drinks, of course, kindly provided by Fair Price. And this is provided as part of our commitment to enhance the overall workplace experience for your workers when companies embark on a 3B checklist to start their journey of becoming a company providing fair and progressive employment, abiding by tripartite guidelines. Let me give you an example, and I think he's not unfamiliar to many of you. Sing Chai Hain, Wayne Sim. I think one of your SMF brothers has embarked on this journey with the NTUC USME and is one of 48 companies who have completed this 3B program. Sing Chai Hain is also on a Women and Family Better Workplace campaign that rewards progressive employers that support work-life harmony and anti-harassment in place. The Better Workplace campaign by NTUC U Women and Family aims to recognize and showcase progressive employers who have shown commitment to create better workplaces by providing flexible work arrangements, work-life harmony practices, and managing workplace harassment policy. To accelerate this transformation, companies can form what we call company training committees and tap on the CTC grant, where NTUC and E2I provide up to 70% support for productivity and innovation initiatives. In case you're wondering a little bit about the CTC, this is actually a grant that's provided by the NTUC, the E2I outfit that we have, and actually the grant quantum can go up to $1 million. And so this, I know, is something that many of our SMF companies are very interested to understand and know more about. And this funding enables our businesses to explore job redesign opportunities and build progressive, safe, and fair workplaces that benefit all employees, particularly as we move towards modern manufacturing. And in closing, as we look ahead, building an inclusive manufacturing sector goes beyond implementing policies and programs. It requires fostering a culture that values every worker's contributions. For women, FWAs and workplace fairness are not merely supportive measures. They are fundamentally enablers that unlock their full potential and ensure their meaningful participation in Singapore's economic success. At NTUC, we remain steadfast in our commitment to partner with businesses, unions, and government agencies to make this vision a reality. In fact, many of my union colleagues are also here in the audience today, and we have our Advanced Manufacturing Employees Union. We also have our colleagues from the NTUC USME all here to be able to collaborate with you and share with you a little bit more about what NTUC does. And I believe by working together, we can ensure that Singapore's manufacturing sector continues to thrive, powered by these diverse and dynamic workforce that is ready for the future, because in Singapore and NTUC, every worker matters. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Yeo.